The XL Group presents Be Present, Be Safe, Put Down the Phone by Brian Poliafico, Construction Risk Engineer at XL Group. Life moves awfully fast these days, doesn't it? Despite the advances in technology and communication, we're still rushing from one place to the next, constantly juggling throughout the day. We shouldn't be surprised when this multitasking behavior continues behind the wheel. Now, think about your family and loved ones. If you were to offer them advice for smart living, would you want them talking on the phone or texting while driving? Of course not. What about you? Do you talk and text while driving? Distracted driving increases the risk of injury and death dramatically. According to data compiled by the National Safety Council, there have been an estimated 638,869 crashes involving drivers using cell phones and texting. Furthermore, it's estimated that a minimum of 25% of the crashes in 2011 involved drivers talking and texting on cell phones. The Virginia Tech Transportation Institute concluded that people who text while driving are 23 times more likely to be involved in a crash than non-distracted drivers. As an executive, you have to decide how your organization is going to control this risk and respond to this crisis, because this is a crisis. We need to tell our employees to put the phone down while driving. Every organization should have a very frank discussion regarding cell phone and smartphone usage while operating a vehicle. The discussion starts with a policy statement of the organization. As a safety and risk management professional, I see no other option than for companies to issue a total ban on cell or smartphone usage while on the clock. Period. So there, no calls and no texts in the car, ever. That was easy, wasn't it? Well, now comes the hard part, changing the culture and holding people accountable. What? You don't think your company can do it? Well, governments and corporations alike are responding to the increasing risk. 11 states and the District of Columbia have complete handheld bans. Text messaging is banned for all drivers in 41 states and the District of Columbia. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot rely on governments to impose regulations to limit the use of cell phones and smartphones while driving. The leadership at your company needs to lead the change, and many companies are. The National Safety Council reported 20% of Fortune 500 firms have banned all cell phone usage behind the wheel. An additional 35% of Fortune 500 firms reported they have plans to implement one in the next 12 months. So, what is the best way to implement a cell phone ban behind the wheel? The success of this behavior change is directly related to how the message is communicated to the employees and how your employees communicate with your customers. There will most likely be numerous questions, not to mention complaints, about the policy. Well, here are some tips for assisting and managing these discussions. Tip number 1, eliminate the calls. People in your organization should resist calling others on their cell phone during known driving periods or when an employee typically commutes. Encourage your team to stop making the calls. Tip number 2, check Outlook first. If you are reaching out to a person in your organization who is typically never in the office, look at his calendar or Microsoft Outlook and see if you think he might be driving before you call. Supervisors need to be very candid with their employees, and employees should be empowered to not answer their phones if doing so would mean sacrificing their safety and the safety of others. Break the myth that if the boss is calling, it must be important. This is not always the case, and the discussion can wait. Tip number 3, pull over. If a person is expecting a call and she hears the call come through, she can pull to a safe area and then take the call while the car is in park. While driving, keep the phone turned off. Check messages and return calls when safety allows. Tip number 4, there's an app for that. If your company purchases Android or BlackBerry smartphones, employees can install an app that will disable the use of the phone, except to call 911, when the phone senses that the device and its user reach a certain speed. The apps can also automatically send a text message or switch the voicemail greeting to indicate phone user is driving and not available. There are also hardware devices for fleets and individual vehicles that will perform the same function. At XL Group, we want to help our customers and business partners. Your success is our success, and if we can help improve the risk of doing business in a complex environment, we have made a difference. We share a common goal. We want your employees to return home safely at the end of every day. Our risk engineers can help you. There are also numerous resources available through the National Safety Council and the Department of Transportation. Visit www.itcanwait.com for additional information and take the pledge to never text and drive.